So what I find extremely fascinating about you is your story. And not a lot of people know your story, because back then you used to talk a lot about your story, but now you don't. And I just asked a few people about whether they know how Ranveer became Ranveer. They don't know much about it. And I remember that back then you were extremely aggressive, like you were a rebel.
Yeah.
And I remember that Quint, I think, they published your video on you speaking something about Amir Khan and his transformation. I remember all of that. And one day I was sitting right after college, I was sitting at a cafe and I was telling Teju, and during that time, I think you had hit a milestone of 3 million subscribers. And until that point, you had posted, the caption said, after 400 videos, we are finally here at 3 million subscribers. So that's when I told her that the day I hit 400 videos is the day I can expect to have 3 million subscribers. Until then, I'm going to put my head down and I'm going to keep on working. So I divided 400 by 3. I said, roughly 130, 140 videos. 130, 140 good videos, great videos is what you need to get to 1 million subscribers. So I said, let's put in the work, let's get to 140 videos and let's see where it goes. So I have seen your entire journey, but not a lot of people know that. And a lot of people only see you as a podcaster, but I was just telling the guys over here that Ranveer is the king of Indian social media for multiple reasons. A, because you've done it in Hindi, in English, which is extremely difficult. I have just started my Hindi channel. I understand how difficult it is because we both are comfortable in English. In Hindi, it is extremely uncomfortable. And then I again went back to your old Hindi videos to see how your Hindi was back then. And it was terrible, bro.
Yeah.
I was like, if Ranveer can do this, so can I. Because I speak like Rohit Sharma, bro, in Hindi. Okay, and there's a lot of slang here and there. So I said, dude, if I speak like this, people are going to understand that I am not the guy they think I am.
We're Maharashtra boys, bro.
Yeah.
Like, there is that little Maratha angle mixed in our Hindi.
है ना. So I thought ये तो बहुत ही टपोरी लगेगा अगर मैं ऐसा बात करूँगा तो. But let me just go back to see what Ranveer did. And then I saw your videos and I can clearly see that you're struggling to, speak and you're thinking and then you're just thinking about just saying something. And I said, let's start our Hindi channel. And that's how we started. So the reason why I consider you to be one of the most epic benchmarks in Indian social media is because you've done it in Hindi, you've done it in English, you've done it with short form, you've done it with long form. I just saw your Instagram engagement and I was telling the guys also about it. 10 million views, 4 million views, 3 million views. It is not a joke. And I have tried to crack Instagram multiple times, but it has not happened. But you've done it on Instagram not once, but thrice. With Ranveer Alabadia, with BeerBiceps, they have 2 different pieces of contents going out every single day, along with TRS, which by itself is another channel. Even that is about to hit 1 million. So, bro, my agenda for today's podcast is to go deep inside that social media. I wouldn't say hacker, but I would say I want to understand that social media legend within you. To try and see how did you go from being a random kid distributing pamphlets at the beach to now having cumulatively 20 odd million followers across social media platforms. And what I also want to uncover is the reason behind the consistency of how you post and how many views and how much engagement you get. Because a lot of people often get stuck between this dilemma of either posting great content or posting high engagement content. But somehow you've been able to strike the balance in such a way, or some people get stuck with the dilemma of posting too much content or too less. Okay, I'm the guy who posts too less. So I'm always concerned about, if I just put in a lot of videos, then if I push out a lot of videos, the quality might go down. So that is the second agenda that I want to uncover today, which is the understanding of how do you strike a perfect balance between consistency and volumes. And how do you scale this entire thing in such a way that you go on to become an entrepreneur and not just remain as a social media content creator. And this is what I keep telling all my friends. Okay, and this is also something that I've learned from you, that if you're a creator, you will last for 4 years. If you are an entrepreneur, you will last for a decade. Okay, so those are the things that I want to uncover. So let's start with your story. 2015, Ranveer is this dude who just hit the gym, got a great body, and posted this first video. Hi guys, my name is Ranveer Alabadia, and then what? And what? I'm a what? I'm a fitness trainer, and you started giving out tips, and you just sitting like that with a sleeveless t-shirt, right?
Nike. I still have that compression t-shirt.
Yeah. So talk to me about that phase of 2015. What got you started with YouTube, even when YouTube was not cool, even before the Geo wave?
Okay. First, a question for you. Am I more fun than Nirmala Sitaraman to sit in front of?
I know that, bro.
Okay, hold on. Okay, it's hard to have a work conversation with you on some degree because I play football with you, so we have that equation. So I'm gonna try keeping jokes apart, okay? Because we're on Think School, right?
It's okay, bro. You can crack jokes.
We can go all out. Also, if I go on a rant, stop me and then make me talk specifics. Your question was about 2015. 2015. Let's go to 2014, which is my final year of engineering college. Consciously didn't sit for any of the engineering college placements because they were all coding related jobs, and that was the one thing I could never wrap my head around. It was just not a skill that came naturally to me, while I have respect for coders. So I knew that, okay, I'm not going to do this, and I'd done internships in engineering college. So I had a kind of raw gaze that, dude, my own skill set is great for business. I'm a great communicator. I have business acumen, and now I have to just figure which domain I'll get into. So the game plan was always to do my own thing, but didn't learn how to formally start a startup. Didn't know how to go about it either. So when I graduated, I told my parents that give me a month, take care of me for a month, financially, etc., and I'll figure out what I should do after that. 2 weeks into that break, I was thinking, I was just figuring out what to do next. I called up a relative of mine who owned an engineering factory. Told him that I'll work with you for free. I'll just shadow you, take me everywhere. Worked in that factory for a month. And I figured that business is not that complicated. They were running a company that made chemical agitators, which are like chemical mixers, which is a very engineering specific business. But I asked each department to break down their job, and I realized, oh, it's all systems and processes. There's actually nothing difficult here. Because in the workshop, I would see a guy who's not done engineering. He was probably a 10th pass, couldn't speak English, but was able to help construct those chemical agitators. That taught me that, dude, a lot about life and business is based on self-learning and interest. I had a Masi who worked in that factory, and she kind of figured out what I was all about. She understood that I'm trying to launch my own career. So it was probably maybe max 2 to 4 weeks that I spent in that factory, learned a lot about the world, and parallelly, I finished that 1 month I took from my parents. So my dad sat me down and he told me that you need to now kind of go independent. So people have this impression that I'm from a rich family. Okay, my parents had made a lot of money between my 5th grade and my 10th grade. And then there was a massive financial problem, and we kind of lost almost everything that we had financially other than the roof overhead. And my parents are doctors. So doctors always have work. So my parents were in the rebuilding phase themselves, and they couldn't afford to just say, dude, do what you want and we'll pay for you. And both my parents are very type A personalities. So they both wanted me to ukhado something in life, or at least, be on my own 2 feet. So my dad sat me down and he said, either you start studying for an MBA right now or start studying for your next steps, or you take up a job. And if you're not going to do one of these, then I'll stop paying for your food and all the ways that a parent supports you, other than letting you stay in my house.
He'll stop paying for food also, he said.
Yeah, everything.
Damn.
And that's probably the best thing my father's done for me. And I've had a strained relationship with my father all my life. But I look back at that one moment as probably the best thing that my father did for me. And we're at peace now. And he knows on some level, I think I'm very grateful to him for that one moment now. Because I think that's the role of a father. You need to give that tough love situation. So anyway, he was on his own journey of rebuilding his own career. I was in this place where it was kind of like back to the wall. I call it balls against the wall. Very afraid about the world, but also ready to go at it. In engineering college, I'd done a fitness certification course just out of interest. So I was technically a certified trainer. So the day that this incident happened with my dad, I think it was almost like the next day, I'd gone to my engineering office, but I decided, let me go to Carter Road and just figure out trying to sell myself as a fitness trainer to people. So I did exactly that. I wore tighter t-shirts and shorts, went out, found some guys who were slightly overweight, spoke to them, broed out a little bit. I said that I'm a fitness trainer. I'll be able to train you. And because I was able to speak in English, you automatically earn a premium there. So I locked one of my first clients. Now that Masi at the engineering factory, she made me sit down and she's like, okay, this is a nice kind of small revenue stream that you've built. How about looking at this at scale? So I envisaged an Uber for fitness trainers where one can sit at home and just click on a button and order workout. Sort of like what Urban Company is doing today. Um, I sat and drew out a UI UX without having any knowledge of UI UX just for fun. And I realized I had something there. So I started watching a Stanford online course, which is free, of course. It's called How to Start a Startup. I think it's run by Y Combinator. And I understood how startups work because of that. So I realized at that point that you need to raise money for this. Found an angel investor somewhere, reached out to him. He was someone who worked at Crizzle. I have not met that guy, in a very long time now. But that one meeting was very important for me because he told me that, a lot of people are trying to do this Uber for fitness trainers concept. How you'd be able to break out is you look good, you can talk well, consider social media. So I literally started BeerBiceps the next day. One of my closest friends in life, his name's Aditya Valvi. I told him the idea and he pulled out an image of a beer glass from somewhere. He pulled out those arms from somewhere. He's like, use this as your logo. And eventually I got that logo trademarked and all that. But it was actually designed by him. I literally, that video of me sitting on that sofa is recorded 1 or 2 days after this meeting with the Crizzle guy. So it was just very quick execution with the vision of building an Uber for trainers. But as I kept putting out videos and I kept training people, I was making a lot of money in cash from the training, pumping it back into my YouTube stuff. Found Rajas Pardeshi, who was my first teammate. He would record videos for me. So over the course of 1 year, I also started training Tanmay from AIB.
Okay. How did you get Tanmay as a client?
Just reached out to him. Once I got very drunk one night when I was 22. I don't drink anymore. But I got smashed one night. And I think my whole DNA at that point was just keep growing, figure out a way to grow. So I wrote out a very emotional piece to Tanmay saying that I'm a huge AIB fan and I understand what you go through in terms of people trolling you for your weight. Give me a chance. I know I can do something with you.
Wow.
So he agreed. He's like, okay, come meet me at XYZ location. And I took that as the biggest opportunity of my life. So I went and met him. He's like, can you find me a gym? I would just go into random gyms in Andheri and say, I'll get you a top content creator. Let me start training him from tomorrow. Eventually, we figured out, how to train together. I would be at his house and he was cool enough to let me spend an hour extra post the session or pre the session. And we'd do a lot of shit talking, like it's Tanmay.
Okay.
But he'd also brief me a lot on how his career was going about. And this is like 2015, 2016, where influencer marketing is not a thing. So he would tell me that, can you imagine a reality where a cycle brand pays you 1 lakh rupees just to talk about them on Snapchat? And I said that, bro, it's a great thought. It's happening in America, but will it truly happen in India? And I was earning a lot of money in cash again from fitness training. But once I saw him starting to crack his few deals, I kind of realized that, hold on, my YouTube channel is also growing. I had to have a little bit of a painful conversation with him about needing to stop training him as a fitness trainer. I don't think he had liked it at the time, but then I've been bros with him for so long now that I think he's probably even forgotten about this. And he's been that big brother figure, throughout my career in many ways. And fortunately, then there've been a lot of others as well. I think my whole career is an outcome of really smart people coming together and guiding me correctly at the right point in time. But at that point, it was all Tanmay. And then parallelly, we just staying consistent with our uploads. I remember it was Tuesday and Friday without fail. No matter what happens, a video has to release on Tuesday, a video has to release on Friday. I actually have a story here. Again, so I'm an engineering grad, okay? And you don't really understand that dressing is important, grooming is important, all that. Parallelly, we were doing fitness content. So I used to experiment the fitness content on my own body, understand what's happening, and then put it out for the world. It was just a standard practice I followed. So that time, ketogenic diets were a massive wave, and it had given me a lot of growth. And I got known as the keto guy, though I'm not. I hate that concept. I hate that style of eating. I think it's unhealthy for your body. It's unhealthy for your mind. But at that point, I was experimental. I was 22, 23 years old. So I ended up going on zero carbs. I would eat like red meat every single day, maybe in every meal. No veggies almost. Like one bowl of veggies. Got ripped as shit. Okay, but my skin and hair went for a toss. Lots of hair fall, lots of skin trouble. So my sister and mum made me sit down one day and they were like, listen, you're a media guy now. And we're sitting at what, like 20,000 subscribers, 30,000 subscribers. But they started giving me shit about my skin and hair, like you're grooming, like, that you need to take care of this. Everything's gone for a toss. That was the first time I felt conscious about being in media. But we had to release videos every Tuesday and Friday. So I remember this one particular phase where I think I broke out too much and my hair fall had increased too much. And I was very conscious about my own self-image. But we had to release a video. So I ended up calling a friend of mine, going to Five Gardens, which is a park near my house. And, shooting a motivational video of me shirtless from really far. So you can't see my face, but you can see my body from really far. Figuring out, getting Tanmay in that video, getting a clip of him working out as well, and turned it into a motivational video. And crying, feeling conscious and all, but not missing that upload date. And that was so important back then because that kind of a psychological struggle really toughens you up for the journey to come. So we've reached a point now where if you count short content, we're probably releasing something like 300 pieces a week. So, but that is happening because there were certain systems and processes and self-discipline in place at that phase, irrespective of my mental health, irrespective of where I am emotionally. You keep going because in this game, consistency matters and consistency compounds a lot. But I think that early phase where all of us are not trained media professionals. None of us have done, courses in this. Until now, like now people do courses thanks to people like us. But at that point, you're learning about media. How does one dress? How does one speak? How does one look in front of camera? So can be very psychologically challenging. And that's what I think a lot of new creators go through as well. They get overly conscious about trolls, overly conscious about how they look. This can be a severe psychological roadblock if you're looking at this as a 10, 15-year career.
Hi guys, thank you so much for watching the Indian Business Podcast. If you find value in our work, please hit that subscribe button because for you it might be a zero effort task, but for us that subscriber count is an important instrument to get great guests to our podcast and to make this podcast better for you. So if you find value, please subscribe.